Sports fans, I'm Dan Peterson, director of Superbasket. And Superbasket, the historical weekly magazine of Italian basketball, founded by Aldo Giordani 45 years ago, is celebrating its 45th birthday. And this show is part of that. Here in Pesaro, a city that is a cultural city for Italy in 2024. And it's a great city for basketball, and so this great show is available for everybody. Let's start right here. The story of basketball, the first basket project. This isn't the first one, but just like it, the Peach basket. All this equipment that you see, the old-time basketball with the laces, the old-time shoes. So it starts right here, 1891, December. Let's take a tour. We go here and we see right now, women's basketball. It just happens to be the first one we have right here. The first women's players were dressed like this. They wore some of these uniforms that you see here. But here she is, the first one. They called them bloomer girls, bloomer girls. These were called the bloomers. Even when they wore them on the streets, the women had these. So they were the bloomer girls, the very first basketball team, also the first baseball teams. We move over here, and we see some more uniforms for women's basketball. The shirts they wore, Caterina Polini, the historical player for Italian women's basketball. The Redheads, the first great, they were the Harlem Globetrotters of women's basketball. Harlem Globetrotters of women's basketball. The Redheads, their uniforms. This is the original uniform, the original here. All of the other things, the USA women's team, and then the national teams. Soviet Union, CCCP, USSR, their shoes, basketball books written. This is one by the legendary coach, Alexander Gomelsky. So they have things that go back way, way, way back. Here's some more on women's basketball. Another women's uniform you can see here. Here it is in the photograph, or the poster here. Here it is on the girl herself, another women's basketball uniform. All about the history of women's basketball, if that's of interest. We move over here, and we come to the section that's devoted to the legendary, mythical Harlem Globetrotters. All of the posters that they had, the different uniforms that they've had, the warm-ups, photographs, basketballs autographed by them, the one they gave, the shirt they gave to Pope Francis recently, all of the publicity posters they have. This is Rick Barry. He didn't play for the Harlem Globetrotters. We're moving over into NBA and national team basketball here, and some university teams like West Virginia University here, Boston Celtics, a commemorative uniform, Brazil's national team, Dallas Mavericks, Atlanta Hawks. We have everybody. Let's move on. Here we are in the section where they have games, the old-time basketball games they used to sell in the stores you could buy in the different countries. Here's one in Spanish. Here's one in English. Here's one in French. They have all of the different languages here. There's one in Russian here. So we have every different language for these games. You go right down here. We come to another section right here, electric basketball. We have electric basketball here, a game that you can play. And others where they take a shot, it goes through the basket, it goes through the net, it comes rolling down. We're right here. Miniature uniforms. This is for some youngster, okay? Real little guy. Boston Celtics, Los Angeles Lakers, Larry Bird. And here we come to another part where you have photographs. Here is called the Golden Net. Luckily, I received this one a few years ago. Barack Obama, who used to play basketball, received one of these one time, the Golden Net, okay, which is an honor that they give here in Italy every year. So, and then they have pictures. Here's a picture of a basketball game with Italy. This is Paolo Vittori from Italy. on the floor, diving for a loose ball. A great action picture, a lot of great photographs here. Let's move on to another section here. We're still in the games department. Here we see the games where electric basketball, different kinds of games that are played. This is a story in itself right here. Now you see behind me here, dolls, if you want to call them dolls, you know, they call them bambole in Italian, you know, one of Julius Erving making a dunk shot. Here we have Kobe Bryant. We have all different kinds of players here. Larry Bird is one here. Here's Larry Bird in one of the Russian dolls that you have here, take apart dolls. Larry Bird, Boston Celtics 33, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, the whole team. Danny Ainge, Dennis Johnson, they have the whole team of the Boston Celtics, all different kinds of games. Now we move on to another section here, and we have little stem, they call them stem, you know, patches that they put on the different uniforms, medals that people have won, awards that people have won. When you play a game, international game with the national team, they give you a plate or something like this as a commemorative thing, something you can keep as a memory of the event. Flags they give, USA national team, different national teams, Slovenia, this is Argentina, okay? So they have, this is the international section, Yugoslavia, Lithuania, the club teams, Žalgiris Kaunas, where Arvydas Sabonis played. We see, this is the great Nick Gallas, who played for Aris of Thessaloniki, Greece. Here we see publicity posters for in Rio and in Maracanã in Brazil, where they played. And basketball invented in 1891 by an instructor. They give all sorts of history of the game, Canada's national team, Polish national team. Let's move on to another section here. It's divided by sections so that the fan can follow this easily. Now we get to the section on the referees. We have the clocks that they use, the different kind of thing, the 24-second clock, all of the different jerseys that the referees have worn in international basketball, even in American basketball, the one with the black and white vertical striping. Over here we see other books dedicated to the rules of basketball, and here we have the warm-ups that the referees have before the game. So another 24-second clock. Everything is divided by sections. We want the fan, we want it to be a cultural experience, not just entertainment, but entertainment, something beautiful to see, but also something cultural, educational. They can take away knowledge of what has happened, what they've seen here today. So that's the first part of our tour. Well, fans, I really want to talk to you about this part of the tour that we're making in this tremendous show we have here in Pesaro. We're in an old church here, and this used to be a church, and now it's a huge arena where we were able to make this showing of these uniforms, memorabilia out there. In fact, it's called Superbasket 45 Years Memorabilia, okay? And if you're looking for a hashtag, hashtag Superbasket Memorabilia, okay? And this is Aldo Giordani, the founder of this magazine 45 years ago in 1978. The great Aldo Giordani, Italy's first great basketball sportscaster. So now we can move on to some other things that are here. Old-time uniforms. This is Italian basketball. This is Udine, APU Udine, an old-time team. Cantu, these are from the 1950s, okay? Blue Star Rome, here's the blue star on their uniform. And some other, Skipper, this is one from the 1980s when they played, this is Fortitudo Bologna, and their sponsor was Skipper. The F is for Fortitudo. Now we get to my old team. I wasn't the coach at this time, but Simmenthal Milan. A basket with Simmenthal written here. The red shoes, they were known as the red shoes, le scarpette rosse in Italia. The red shoes, and here's a pair of red shoes as they were. The legendary uniform, the name that really struck fear in everyone, Simmenthal. And this is the shirt worn by the great Gianfranco Pieri, the first great playmaker in Italian basketball, and that's his uniform. Here's Simmenthal number 10. This is Sandro Rimanucci, the golden angel, they called him, the flying angel. Simmenthal, the sports bag they carried. And now we see up high all of the uniforms of the different teams of Series A over the years. One in particular for me is number 10 here, which is our team when I was coaching Billy Milan. It was Olympia Milan, with the sponsor was Billy, and this was worn by number 10, Roberto Premier. All of these uniforms are important. These two number 18s here by Oscar Schmidt. He's in the Hall of Fame today. This is when he played for Caserta, and we played in the finals against him in 1986. We move over to the Italian national team. This is one of the uniforms, if you want to call it that they wore in the pre-Olympic ceremony. This was in Rome, 1960. This was worn by Paolo Vittorio, who was on the national basketball team. We see some photographs of the national team. And now, on this wall, we've had a complete section dedicated to the national team, the different uniforms they wore over the years. Important. Number 11, Dino Meneghin, the legendary player, the best Italian player of all time. And then the different uniforms, some of them are signed by the players. Up high, you see number 8, the white shirt, signed by Sandro Gamba, who wore that in the 1960 Olympics. Now we move over to here. We're in Pesaro, and I said that this was the city of culture for Italy in 2024. And we're in their home, so we dedicated a wall to them, an entire section to them. This is when they won the famous playoff in 1980 to stay up in Series A, dramatic in Milan against Mestre, a historic moment for their team. These are the old-time uniforms they wore before Scavolini took over as sponsor. Scavolini was the sponsor for like 35, 36 years, legendary sponsor. And then above, all of the uniforms that were worn by the great Scavolini teams. And we played them in 2 different finals, in 1982 and in 1985. So we know something about them. We move over into the NBA section, and now you see the warm-up jerseys worn by the different teams, the Detroit Pistons, Phoenix Suns, Chicago Bulls. We get over here, we see Superbasket covers. There are more than 1,600 Superbasket covers, but we had to limit the number we could have. We don't have enough space for all of them, so we put the most important ones here, and these are Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, different people like this. Now we have some pins, we have some wristbands, shirts that were signed by the Chicago Bulls, the Los Angeles Lakers, warm-ups to the New York Nets, and now you see the NBA jerseys, and you probably recognize a lot of the numbers, a lot of the players. Let's see if we can pick a New York Nets, Phoenix Suns, number 22, New York, number 6, that was Danilo Gallinari probably, or he was number 8. But at any rate, we have all of these are NBA jerseys. Now we move over, we're still in the NBA section here, Boston Celtics, Larry Bird, here's his, signed by Larry Bird, here's his warm-up right here, trophy, Sidney Moncrief who won this. 76ers, number 23, Atlanta Hawks, we move right up. And over the years, this is a tremendous collection of NBA jerseys. Alberto Cecere, who put this together for us, did a fantastic job. We move over here, more covers of Superbasket, more NBA jerseys. Harlem Globetrotters, number 44. DePaul University, I'm from Chicago, and so DePaul University was very, very important for me. Ray Meyer, the coach of DePaul, was one of my idols, one of my coaching models. I used a lot of his offensive systems. And we see more NBA jerseys here. Harlem Globetrotters again, here's a great statue. It's the book section here, a book on Oscar Robertson, the Big O, Oscar Robertson, the Big O. And this is a tremendous book on him. I was glad to see him. Practical Modern Basketball by John Wooden. This was one of my earliest books when I started coaching, a Bible for us coaches, okay, absolutely. Here's a wonderful book if you want the history of basketball. The jump shot, the origins of the jump shot. People think that it started in one place. It started in 8 different places, and this book tells that story. We see more jerseys here, some from colleges. Indiana State, when Larry Bird was there. This is a beautiful jersey from Indiana. We see the Phillips 66ers. a famous AAU team. They were national amateur champions, Western Kentucky, Belmont. So a lot of things, we try to do it section by section, interest by interest, NBA here, national team there, Italian clubs, Pesaro, different things for the people that are going to come and go through this building for the next 6 weeks to see everything we have here. And this is just a start. We could have done an entire arena of things like this. So it was my pleasure to be with you and take this. Don't forget, this is done by Superbasket, the historical magazine of Italian basketball, which is celebrating its 45th anniversary. And this is Superbasket memorabilia. And if you're interested in the hashtag, it's hashtag Superbasket memorabilia. Sports fans, I'm Dan Peterson. Thanks for watching. Ciao a tutti.